People have had three complaints about electric outboard motors for the last several years. Not enough range, they don't go fast enough, and they're too expensive. In 2026, two of those problems get solved. Only two. ePropulsion, who make this Spirit 1.0 Plus, are coming out with their Spirit 2. And Newport just recently released their NT600. And what it gives us is more range and faster, but not cheaper. But I'll say that with a caveat because it is cheaper, and I'll show you why and how in this video. First of all, let's talk about the Spirit 2, because when I originally saw some of the press release stuff about it, I thought it was replacing the Spirit 1.0 Plus. And ultimately, they may stop making these and selling these, but I don't feel that the Spirit 2 replaces the 1.0 Plus because it's a completely different motor, and there may still be a place for this motor, possibly. I'll show you the comparisons in more detail in a little bit. Where it's really going to compete is with this NT600. This is a direct competitor for it. This is the old Navy 6, which is just like a Navy 3. I don't have a Navy 3. I think it's going to replace the Navy 3. We'll talk about all that in this video. But first of all, let's talk about what were the flaws of an ePropulsion Spirit 1.0 Plus. There really aren't many flaws with this motor. I love this motor. Got it in test tank here, so I'm just going to run at a really low speed. It's silent. It's easy to operate. It's probably one of the best 1 kilowatt electric outboards out there. The battery floats. The display is good. It works nice. It's silent. It's great. My complaints about it have always been this data cable right here. I don't like the fact that there's this cable that has to plug into the battery pack. I also don't like if you go to use it with a third-party battery, you've got to get a special cable that attaches to this plug right here because, this is a special plug. Now maybe somebody, could figure out how to make their own. To buy the cable to run a third-party battery is expensive because it's a special cable. Your range and runtime is okay, and your speed is really honestly about 5 miles an hour. On the website they publish it a bit higher than that, but really you're only getting 5 miles an hour out of it. And that's always been one of the hurdles with these because you're only about 2 miles an hour faster than a trolling motor, and you're spending a whole lot more money. And that's where a lot of people complain. So the ePropulsion Spirit 2 is faster than this and has more range than this. I mean, if you can go like 9 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, that's a lot faster than a trolling motor. So that's pretty cool. And that's what it promises. So let's look at some of the data right here. The Spirit 1.0 Plus is a 1 kilowatt electric outboard motor, which they refer to as a 3 horsepower equivalent. The Spirit 2 is a 2 kilowatt electric outboard motor with an extra kilowatt in boost mode. So for a limited time, you can actually run it in a boost mode, which gives you 3 kilowatts. 3 kilowatts people consider to be equal to 6 horsepower, but not really. The Spirit 1.0 Plus, using this battery, is a 1,276 watt-hour battery. The Spirit 2 has a 1,539 watt-hour battery. Bigger battery, but it's also a more powerful motor. So we'll talk about the range in a little bit. The cost, currently, the Spirit 1.0 Plus is $3,180 with the proprietary battery. The Spirit 2 will be $4,200 with the proprietary battery. So it's $1,000 more. Top speed, as I said before, the ePropulsion Spirit 1.0 Plus has a top speed of about 5.5 miles per hour. Your mileage may vary. And the Spirit 2 I estimate that its top speed will probably be about 9 to 9.5 miles per hour. The runtime at 500 watts, which if you know anything about these small electric outboards, if you throttle them back just a little bit, you're not losing that much speed, but you're gaining a lot of runtime. So running it at 500 watts is not unrealistic. This will run for 2 hours and 30 minutes at 500 watts. The Spirit 2 will run for 3 hours at 500 watts. At 1,000 watts, which for this is running at full speed, it will run for an hour and 15 minutes under ideal conditions. The Spirit 2 will run for 1 hour and 48 minutes. So it's faster and it has a longer runtime. Now, one of the other interesting things about the ePropulsion Spirit series motors is hydrogeneration. Hydrogeneration is a fancy term for the propeller will recharge the battery. That only applies if you're a sailor. If you're running this on a sailboat, when you're under sail, if your prop is still in the water and you're going fast enough that the prop is spinning, that will actually recharge the battery a little bit, much like regenerative braking works in an EV truck or an EV car. All of these Spirit 2s will have regeneration. Let's talk about weight. It looks like it's a little bit bulkier. The weight of the Spirit 1.0 Plus is 19.3 kilograms or 42.5 pounds, and that's with the battery pack. The Spirit 2 weighs 21 kilograms with the battery pack, which is 46.2 pounds. So it's really only a few pounds heavier. But now let's talk about the Spirit 2 compared to its real competitor, which is the Newport NT600. I reviewed the Newport NT600 a few months ago. I'll link that video up here and in the video description. And I really liked the Newport NT600 with the proprietary battery. Let's look at the specs. The Spirit 2 is a 2 kilowatt electric outboard with a 3 kilowatt boost mode. The NT600 is by default 3 kilowatts. The cost, exactly the same with the batteries. So if you get the Spirit 2 with its proprietary battery and you get the NT600 with the really cool big battery that they sell for that's a proprietary battery, both of those right now are the exact same price. They're both $4,200. I know the top speed of the NT600 on my boat, configured how I have it, was 9.5 miles an hour. And I estimate that the top speed of the Spirit 2 is going to be about the same because they're both about the same kilowatt motors when you're running the Spirit 2 in its boost mode. But here's where they're less similar. The runtime at 1,000 watts for the Spirit 2 is 1 hour and 48 minutes. But the runtime with the NT600 is supposed to be 3 hours and 40 minutes at 1,000 watts. At 2,000 watts, which is of course running the motors faster, the Spirit 2 has just under an hour of runtime, and the NT600 has at least an hour and 20 minutes. But I believe when I looked up that specification, that was running it at 3,000 watts. So therefore, it probably will run 2 hours at 2,000 watts. So it gives you a lot more runtime, which of course increases your range. So while these two motors are competitors, they do have some very different features that may be more advantageous to different users, especially because they're priced exactly the same. For example, the Spirit 2 offers the Hydrogeneration. Hydrogeneration is completely useless to anybody who is not running this motor on a sailboat. The motor weight. The Spirit 2 motor itself weighs 13 kilograms or 28.6 pounds. The NT600 motor is much heavier at 23.5 kilograms or 52 pounds. The battery weight of the Spirit 2, 10.4 kilograms, 23 pounds, and the NT600 battery is much heavier at 31.7 kilograms or 70 pounds. And of course, that heavier battery is what gives it so much more range and runtime. So if you brought a second battery with an ePropulsion Spirit 2, you're going to increase your runtime a lot, obviously. So your total weight for the Spirit 2 motor and battery pack is 23.4 kilograms, 51.6 pounds, and the NT600 is 55.2 kilograms or 122 pounds. The NT600 with that battery weighs more than twice as much as the ePropulsion Spirit 2. So when it comes to range, runtime, the NT600 is clearly the winner. Much more range and runtime because of that much bigger and heavier battery. When it comes to weight, the Spirit 2 is much lighter than the NT600 with that battery pack. But let's talk about the specific features. The Spirit 2 has hydrogeneration, the sail repowering. It has a USB-C plug, which may or may not be useful for you. And it has a bracket that stays on the boat where you can pull the motor off the bracket, from what I can tell and what I see in the pre-production information. That bracket also makes it very useful for sailors, because for people who want to be able to take the motor off of the boat and leave the bracket in place and just easily drop the motor on without having to clamp it down, that's a nice feature. Now the NT600 has a very cool built-in handle on the motor, and it supports third-party batteries quite easily. I still don't know at this time whether or not the ePropulsion Spirit 2 will support third-party batteries. I hope to actually be able to try one of those out sometime in the future, but I'm not sure how many months I'll have to wait until I get one. I just mostly want you to be able to kind of understand what the difference is between this and the NT600 and a couple of other options. One of the other options is this old thing right here. Now this is an ePropulsion Navy 6, but the Navy 3 looks just like this. The Navy 3 is a 3 kilowatt electric outboard. And this is where the ePropulsion Spirit 2 actually is a cheaper alternative. But also, does the camera follow me over here? Can the camera follow me all the way over here? But also over here, gas motors. For those of you who want to run gas and can run gas, you're still going to be able to run a gas motor for less out-of-pocket money than one of these electrics. That Honda 5 right there, you can get that motor for, where's my notebook? There it is. You can get a brand new 4-stroke, 5 horsepower gas outboard for about $1,600. It weighs about 60 pounds. $1,600 is a lot cheaper than $4,200. For a lot of you, it comes down to cost. Like personally, I really love electric outboards. Well, as you can see, I got multiple of them around me. I like the simple operation. I like how quiet they are. I like the ease of use. I like not having to deal with fuels and store fuels or oil or any of those kinds of things. But the reality is, it's more upfront money. And for whatever reasons that you need to decide what you want to be able to do or what you can do in your area, economically, when you're spending your own dollars for a motor for your boat, a 5 horsepower gas motor is going to be a lot cheaper up front than one of these electrics. Now maybe with fuel costs over the course of years and maintenance and things like that, these electrics will end up being more beneficial. But we really don't know yet. Like, what if the battery on one of those things gives away after 5 years and you got to spend $2,000 buying a new battery? That's the same cost that you spent for the whole gas outboard. So I'm not trying to specifically talk you into these things. This is mostly if you're curious and if you are interested. I think if I was interested right now in one of these 3 kilowatt, 2 kilowatt electric outboards, the Newport NT600 and the ePropulsion Spirit 2 are very strong competitors with each other, depending on your needs. If you need to go far and run for a very long time, that Newport suitcase battery is really neat, but it's a very heavy setup. If you just want a better electric outboard that's small and portable and compact and doesn't have this cord anymore, that's the beauty of that Spirit 2. No more cord. It plugs straight in. Then the Spirit 2 might be the way to go. I've been very happy with the ePropulsion Spirit 1.0 Plus. I rarely even need to bring any secondary battery with me for the things that I do with my boat. I don't go out far, and I'm not out for really long periods of time, but I have yet to run one of these batteries flat whenever I've been out there. That's just me though, in my situation. Your situation may be very, very different. If you're just looking for a small motor for a tender to go back and forth from your bigger boat, there's a lot of good options out there in the 1 kilowatt range that I think do really well. But if they're not powerful enough for you, that ePropulsion Spirit 2 may just be the ticket, or the NT600. Anyway, please be sure to put your comments down below. I love to hear your comments and questions, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.